Today's project is a little special because it is technically my first piece of fan art. Sethiris, or Terry, is the mascot of a wonderful band that a few friends are working very hard on. And while they don't have anything out yet, the demos and sneak peeks they've graced me with so far got me really excited, and I wanted to make something for them. Oh, by the way, at the time of making this project, this was the only thing I had to go on for reference, so I had a lot of creative choices to make. I started this project by adding a sphere and shaping it, before quickly realizing that I should probably use a reference for the proportions. I imported a geometric design of an owl head and began shaping it. Carving in the eyes and brow ridge, I box modeled the little beak using a cube with a subdivision surface, before tracing the ears with yet another cube, then merging it into the head and smoothing everything over. The original plan for Terry here was to have a normal owl upper body with tentacles for feet. So after quickly making some wings and a body, I got to the tentacles. This is where the pain began. At first, I tried to be clever about this and use an array and curve modifier to create 8 identical and symmetrical tentacles that I can later adjust. Obviously forgetting that you cannot apply modifiers to curves. Still suffering from denial, I tried a few ways around this and couldn't come up with a decent idea, so I, like any responsible adult, decided to ignore the problem and focus on another thing, and hoping it'll just solve itself. I added a plane, subdivided it, and applied some randomness to create the base of an environment. Mirroring it, I applied an array modifier to the landscape to stretch it out. I added a wireframe modifier, gave it an emissive blue glow, and gave the floor a dark metallic gray. I then added an HDRI of a clear sky, colored it purple, and then added a big ol' sphere for the sun. At this point, it was getting fairly late, and I decided I'd be able to make a quick tree using this skin modifier and then going to bed. Nope! I ended up making and messing with this monstrosity off camera till 2 AM. 2 AM.
One nap later.
I reverted back to an old save and decided I'd tackle the tentacles again, this time looking at other techniques online first. Using a curve to make the base shape, I added suckers using an array and curve modifier. On this attempt, I eventually got to a point where they were looking decent, so I decided to trudge through. And now...
It's rigging time!
I added a few bones, suffering through the process of navigating the various bone menus to try and set up a basic IK rig. Eventually, I figured it out and added the tentacles to the base of the Sethiris, using the mirror modifiers to attach them symmetrically. Deciding that the tree I made last night was too much of a disappointment, I added a basic cylinder to represent a branch, then trying to pose the tentacles in a sitting position, which didn't go too well. Out of stubbornness, I kept trying the rig for another 2 hours off camera and didn't get anywhere, so I decided to scrap the idea and try a few different things. Eventually, I decided to make the stylized choice of excluding the suckers on the tentacles and use some vertices with the skin modifier to make them, with the intention of sculpting them later. Oh, also, I made a better tree. I merged the tentacles with the body before going in and adding feathers using an alpha brush. I then smoothed out the various connections, added a spotlight, and added some cell shading. Then tried to use a few 4K wallpapers of galaxies for the eyes. Also decided that with the realistic HDRI, the rough terrain, and the tree, the background was way too busy, so I replaced the sky with a flat purple light and added a flat ground. I then quickly modeled in some white neck ruffles for the body, and now it's time for Terry's final render.